this is a constant thing that I've kept on coming to is not everyone has had our sort of childhood or backstory. So it's if we have that much of a deficit in our like developing years, we make the early mistake of whether it's we definitely had a part also, we had a choice in a sense until we finally broke free of our whatever we had in the past. So we have a larger need to go and learn and sort of catch up compared to everyone else.
Yeah.
A lot of people I know in my life have just had maybe better parents, maybe better upbringing, maybe they were not bullied in school or whatever. Or maybe they, what? Physical attractiveness, like pretty privilege, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Some people have that.
The environment just set them up. In a sense, they are better looking because maybe they have the right food, they have the right mental health, right environment, the house maybe not dusty when they're
Dusty, musty,
younger.
crusty.
Yeah. They have the good environment in that sense that shape them. I mean, like if you're a black pillar, then you'll say, oh, it's unfair, then nothing you can do to change. But I think we have to try. That's what we did. We tried. I would say improve a lot compared to our previous self. Yeah.
I keep sometimes I look back on my past because I've documented a lot of my life. Since I was what age was I when I first started? I started on Facebook at age like 10 or 9, I think. Yeah, that was also when I sort of started deviating from reading as a child because I was a bookworm as a child. So then I started going to content. Facebook is private with my family, friends. Kept posting. Then it went into Instagram when I was older. Then it's been Instagram ever since. I've documented my life for a decade, basically, I think, at this point. Yeah, a decade, actually. Ooh.
I mean, that's not something that everyone does. Like, definitely not everyone. Actually, most people don't do it.
It's another realization of mine. I was like, people are not chronically online. They're not chronically posting every single thing, every single thought that they think. And I was like, oh, right, I'm not normal.
So I don't know about you, but my friend circle, including me, we have a private account that we follow one another in. Then we just post whatever they were feeling. Like sometimes it could be just memes, just sharing memes. And sometimes it could, for me, a bit shameful to admit, but back then I was always obsessed over someone. Always, it's either this crush or that crush. Then sometimes it would just be super loser way of like, oh, I miss, or I'll use the word love. Like I'm cringing as I'm saying, like recalling, but that's the utility. I would like post picture of her, then the description would just be random stuff. Yeah, just saying that. Or like I remember in Sec 4, like I think she touched my shoulder or something. Then I literally took a picture of my shoulder.
I'm
And
never watching this ever again.
yeah, then I just post on the private account. Yeah. So in a sense, it's not really document because I've seen your documentation is a lot more wordy and more laid out.
Thorough.
Yeah.
In a sense, I take photos of everything. I write a lot of my thoughts.
It's a journal, basically.
The log of every single thing I've whether eaten or because I started out with like food photography or like done, thought, learned, even taking notes from YouTube videos, podcasts.
I mean, it's a impressive feat in a sense.
Yeah, but the question comes down to, was I driven or was I driving the car? Because once it gets into a habit, then it's object in motion stays in motion. Either stayed in motion.
But when you write, when you document, do you write it for yourself or do you have other people in mind, people that follow you? Because for me, when I post on my private account, subconsciously or unconsciously, I will be thinking, how does this make me look for people that follow me? Like those that can see my documentation.
With any form of art or creation. So content I'm putting out into the world through the internet, which is like leverage in a sense. It's a platform, right? Social media platform. So there is always the me aspect of it because I am the creator. And then there's also the audience aspect. So who I am actually putting out that message to. And a lot of it was, first of all, started with family, friends from primary school. Then it slowly, because most people's Instagram is just, if you have a main account and spam account, that's the sort of what a lot of people do.
And spam is just a more unfiltered version of the main. Main is a highlight reel kind of account. Yeah.
But now Instagram is the one like platform that has continued to flourish, let's say. It was bought over by Meta, and it started, like it or not, it took like the stories from Snapchat. Then it stole, like, even now there's the thought bubbles, like for your, what's it called, notes or something, the way you can share. It's basically a tweet. There's a word limit to the amount of like letters you can say, but it's your current thought sort of thing. They've just been picking the sort of best of every platform. And it has survived until now. Like Instagram is not really hated. It's sort of a chill platform. We can talk about like Twitter, then everyone hates like Elon Musk, whatever. Yeah, but Instagram has stood the test of time. And most people just get their friends, their family to, depends on how public or private you want to be with your accounts. Where there's even a public account, which I had in the past when I first started. Like, and it was like what, the follow for follow sort of thing. I was posting just food photography, every single thing I ate, more or less, since I was 10 years old, then 11 years old, 12, 13. Yeah, then I think towards 14, I stopped. 13, I started posting more about my life, like posting the people in my life. It was either food or friends or stories, like from my day-to-day life in, I don't know, as a kid, how many stories I had. Okay, I had many stories. So yeah. And my stories were known for being what? Colorful. I would write, like use all the text, different colors. It would be rainbow. Legit taste the rainbow.
I know there's a way you can highlight and slowly.
Yeah. I taught my friends how to do that.
Move the wheel.
I did a tutorial at age 12.
Rainbow words. That was
Rainbow
like
words.
our childhood in a sense.
Yeah, biggest like, oh, I'm so cool, I can do this.
Yeah.
Check me out.
Same. For me, it was also like Snapchat. I had a lot of like, document a lot on Snapchat, like apart from all the private accounts and stuff. But for me, it's always a love-hate. Like you said, you get to document your stories, your journey in a sense. And you can share moments with people that you care about. But for me, it's a love-hate because I feel Instagram very easy to lose myself into. Like, whenever I use, I will kind of like encourage me to be more egoistic. Like, look at how I am viewed from the outer world. So I will only post if it's like I think it's cool, and the definition of cool just keep expanding based on the people that I follow.
Yeah, it's the people showing people the best side of you, like what you want them to see of you.
Yeah.
Not maybe what you actually are.
Like nowadays, I like to not have it on my phone because I realize it becomes like a habit to just click onto it, then just scroll and just look at other people's cool life, or like, for instance, like my friend now entering uni, going for all the orientation camp, all the pictures with the girls groups, all this. Yeah, it does affect
psychological, because you're maybe not against your will, but you're just being presented with other people's lives, their best of their lives,
and it aligns with your core desires. You want to have a partner, you want to have access to a social setting, like a group, like how easy it is having a good time with people. Then you look at your life, oh, I'm currently like grinding, like, am I doing something wrong? Then it distracts you. It's very distracting.
It's like we're even more connected now than ever, but then with social media, because we covered in our socializing episode, basically we all want social connection. So why social media is even so big, because people want to connect with people. But then if you're just maybe not living your life, maybe not actually using it as a tool to connect with people, but instead just compare yourself to other people's lives, even though there is like no frame of comparison between you and someone else in a sense. Like there are like objective beauty standards we can talk, like whether you're physically fit according to a like set spectrum, but like still you yourself, you should always be comparing to your past self.
It's like recently Joe Rogan released the episode with Chris Williamson on the Joe Rogan Experience. Then I watched one part of it is talking about how jealousy is a very, very useless emotion to feel, because essentially jealousy doesn't make sense at all, because we all want something from someone, like we want that trait or we want that experience or whatever, but we have to realize that if you want that part of someone, you're jealous of that, you're envy of that, you have to take their whole life, their whole experience, their whole spectrum of emotion that follow whatever that you want. Most of the time you won't want that. You won't want to swap whatever you have out. So my question to you is, how do you use it as a tool now? How does Instagram serve you like in like extension from the 1 year, the past 10 years of documenting your journey?
How does it serve me?
How do you use it now as a tool?
Okay. In sort of preparation for this podcast, because I like preparing for things, I like being prepared so that I can sort of show that's why everyone wants to show their best selves.
Yeah.
We are everyone has insecurities. I have like a whole host of them, whether it's physical or like, but I'm now using it as a reflection to sort of, because I have sort of detached myself from the past versions of myself. Because for a new version of me to emerge, let's say, using a metaphor, a caterpillar, cocoon, and then a butterfly, like spreading your wings and taking flight, leaving the nest.
Metamorphosis,
yeah. For that to happen, because while you're at, let's say, when I was at a caterpillar stage, whether with content creation or really anything, I was boxed in my head. I was boxed in my head. And I couldn't see other people's perspectives. I couldn't understand them. I couldn't understand myself even. I was lost in a sense. Because once you leave the nest, let's say, once you grow up past dependence, so you're no longer dependent on your parents for food, shelter, everything.
Past the maturity line.
Yeah, then you become independent. So once you're independent, you're just exposed to the world without the aid of your sort of parents, right? So you have a lot of freedom. And with a lot of freedom comes a lot of chaos. And exposure to a lot of different worldviews, ideas with the internet. Now it's just constant bombardment. And I had to deal with that. And I thought I myself, when I was in that sort of cocoon stage, maybe, so after I got sort of exposed to more ideas, I was like, okay, I need to go and like, I didn't take the time to process it. Or maybe I couldn't even process it.
You didn't have the right guidance to learn how to process it. Like when we were in the dependence stage, we weren't taught how to, like, I think life is, like you said, trial, error. Then afterwards we have to reflect, like you have to document it somewhere, like reflect onto it, tell someone. Then we can realize what are the learning lessons, or next time if there's this scenario, what can I do? Like most of us, we are missing the ability to process all this
and
ongoing stuff,
it's
basically.
Also because of poor mental health, poor physical health. And the two sort of go hand in hand because your body is interdependent also. So at the time I also had, I documented everything I was eating. I was eating like shit, sleeping like shit also. Constantly consuming.
Why do you document the food that you eat like shit? Or back then you didn't think it was shit?
That's why it used to be, so I used to post food and people.
Yeah.
And then I love food, being a foodie. The whole reason I was a food blogger, because obviously love for food. And I love eating a lot of food. And it was like eating as a means of socialization. So going out to eat with people, then you post about it. Or also just to show like what you've eaten. It's useful as a tool to track what you eat. But like that's now in hindsight, obviously. Yeah.
But back then it
Back then I
wasn't
was
to
just
track.
like, I just wanted to like take photo. It's the normal thing. Like it's now very normal for everyone to be like, before you eat, the camera eats first.
Yep.
That sort of thing. Super dumb.
For me, when I literally had a job back then that does this. Just food review. Go to restaurants, select the food that they had a list. They have a Google Docs, what kind of food at what restaurant. You order them. Then after that, usually I ask my friends out because it's more fun if you do it with other people.
Yeah.
Then there's one time my friend and I, two of us, we went to one of the Japanese restaurant in Bugis. The funny thing was that on the list we needed to order like 12 udons, 12 bowls of udons. And we ordered whole table full of udons. And we look over to the next table. There was a family of 3 sharing one bowl. Like it was a young kid and a couple. They were sharing one bowl of like big bowl of udon. Then we were over there with the full table of udon, just 2 of us. So we have to take a lot of pictures. And in a sense, it builds from then on. So before that, I already started having the habit of like let the camera eat first. But after that, I realized I stopped doing it as much because like it became like a job. Yeah. But of course, when it's good food, restaurant food, or whatever, still let the camera eat first. Like to signal to people, oh, I'm eating good. Something like that.
Yeah. It is sort of reassuring to know that people are getting nourished. Eating too, yes. People have eating disorders. That's a thing that personally, okay, maybe you have the other end of the spectrum. Instead of like not eating enough, we have eating too much, which I think we can go into after this. But yeah, for me, shooting my food, right, it became such an instinct. Let's talk about maybe 10 years or like cut it down. Maybe I didn't do it throughout the entire 10 years, but like 8 years, 7 years worth of documenting food. Let's take photo. Like even my family like knows like, oh, before we eat, Josiah's gonna take a photo. Like, that was something I just realized.
Ritual.
Yeah, it's just normal. Not even normal. It just became my
a ritual. Yeah, basically
became my automatic behavior. And I don't know if it's good or bad. I tried unlearning it. Like I took so after 883 days of posting on my spam account.
883. Okay.
Like 2 years and something. I took a 7-day break from Instagram, my posting on Instagram at all, just before my birthday this year. And in that time, I maybe rediscovered my trauma. Maybe. Actually, I did. Yeah, I just did. It was that episode we did where I was wearing the red shirt with pain plus reflection equals progress. Ray Dalio principle shirt. But yeah, that was my birthday week leading up to my birthday. And I discovered my trauma, everything I suppressed before.
What has that done for you? Discovering your trauma, opening, like
Pandora's
basically,
box.
Yeah, letting it's like, you know how our body, I compare this to a wound. You have to let it feel the pain before your body sends the right nutrients for it to start healing. How do you think like discovering that trauma again helped you?
It is because when you are deep in emotion, let's say you are not in the right state to even be able to process it. You're too attached to whether it's through all the feelings, everything, to the event that happened. You're still trying to process it. You haven't processed it yet. So you're not in the right state, and then your body will go into a state of self-preservation. And for me, yeah, that was maybe a large chunk of the time I spent posting on Instagram. So once I took the break, all of a sudden I was left with, oh, I can't share what I'm doing in my life right now. Maybe I should look back a bit since I'm taking the time to breathe and detach. And yeah, from there I processed it for the first time. But I didn't really even process it that much. All I did was
Exposed to it.
poke the bear, uncover, oh, there's a bear right there. Maybe I'm going to touch it soon, but for now I'm just uncovering it. Oh, there's a bear there. I better not go there. Or yeah, I guess that's why I unconsciously did.
Develop the awareness first before you do anything. Because you cannot process something that you're not aware of. So you are just exposing it so that you gain the awareness first.
Exposed all my insecurities. Actually, not all those that came to mind then, because I was really more in a constricted. My head was. I claimed I was open-minded and everything, but
not as open-minded as you thought.
Yeah, and especially in comparison, like through time, and actually, is this idea that you can sort of shortcut progress or really jump straight from level 1 to level 100 like overnight.
I think that is where all of us experience that at the start of our like self-improvement journey. Like personally, I also thought that I am learning all these secrets or self-improvement tips that like can bypass years of like can catch up and stuff. But the further you go, the more you know that the more you know that you don't know.
The more you know that you don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I also realized recently that a lot of stuff have to like go through the experience and learn. Like knowing, we all like to. I think both of us, our commonality is we like to learn about like principles, frames on how to like process stuff, information, all this. But when it still comes, the more I know about this, the more I went through life applying all this stuff, the more I think that no, it's not that simple.
You learn it for the first time and you think, oh, I can do this. Like I'm like this. Like you pridefully think that I'm already like this, man. I'm so good. Like, because you want to affirm yourself, obviously, which is good for the first few steps. But then it is the Dunning-Kruger effect is completely apparently disproven. But like there's the hill of like you think that you're very good at something, but then in the end you realize, oh, I'm actually completely shit at this. Then like, and it with all the frames, like even thinking in abundance mindset, scarcity versus a scarcity mindset, or being open-minded instead of closed-minded, it doesn't instantly like snap and you become, oh, I'm in such an abundance mode mindset. It's a process. You have to, whether it's through application or reflection, it's continuously ongoing, and maybe you're not even at that stage where you can do it.
So can you do it now? Whatever that you used to think about yourself, or is that getting further away? Is it the more you don't know part? Or are you more grounded now? In the sense, when we think, when we have pride and stuff, we are kind of like thinking too much ahead. Like we are like the
getting ahead of
identity
ourselves.
shift towards the like level 100 boss version of ourselves. But we all know that.
But there'll be the yo-yo.
Yeah. Like personally, I thought that I have good emotional control until when life gives me shit, when I don't have good sleep, when I don't have good discipline or whatever, my NS is catching up to me, like in terms of like how it's harming my health and stuff. Then life throws you a situation where you need to control emotion. Then I realize that I still get angry. I still unintentionally say hurtful stuff to people that I care about. Yeah. Then I realized that I still got a lot to learn. Like, and I can only learn it through just having more life experience and making more mistakes and reflecting on it. Like the trial error. I just saw this video today morning. That's why it says the best way to learn anything is trial error document. Document is kind of like you either journal it or you talk to someone, this sort of thing. They reflect. Basically, it's a form of reflection. I realized that I got a lot more to do, a lot more to experience, a lot more mistakes to take, risk to undergo.
It is the saying that a man is only as good as he is when he's at his worst.
Mm.
When the world throws you the worst series of possible events for the day, everything is going to hell, let's say. How are you in that situation? That's the true test of whether you are able to stand firm in your conviction. Because I could sit here and start preaching moral, ethical like standards. Like you want to this is an ideal you have to live up to, that sort of thing. But if I myself am unable to live it when I'm at my worst, then who am I to be saying these things?
Especially we don't know who's behind, like exactly who the person is behind the screen, basically watching us. It's hard to be just it's hard to empathize with people when we are not when you don't know them and we preach all these ideals. I think throughout all these past like
18
10
now.
plus episodes, yeah, we do a lot of it, and sometimes when we listen, it's like good to just learn and know about it. But we know that in reality, things are still hard. Things are still going to shit, and we still have to take it one step at a time. Still not that easy. So like
People can sell you the ideal outcome, the dream outcome, get you all motivated, but then it will die down because reality will set in, and with sort of dealing with the truth of reality, there's a lot of pain with that. Once the reality of all the pain that you have to endure to maybe even get to the point where you can, because to learn, you have to, the past self of you has to die continuously. And for me, it's been like I have to literally mourn the loss of like a younger version of me.
How do you mourn the loss?
Okay, for my journey in terms of into myself, self-discovery, self-improvement, even trauma, I realized a lot of it, most of it, before I even started posting on Instagram, everything, it all stemmed from trauma before that, before the internet even. Like it was during that time I was introduced to the internet because I grew up with internet. I started watching like iPad, my father's iPad at age 8. I was watching Minecraft. But I was also exposed to stuff like, that's why with the internet you have exposure to 18 plus things at the ripe old age of 7 or 8. Like what even? And now kids, there's the video of the kid just like sleeping, but then they're like doom scrolling, like automatically reflects. People are growing up with iPad kids, literally.
It's like it's comparable to having random people on the street just coming to a young child and just telling them whatever,
feeding them
crazy stuff.
whatever.
Yeah. Shouting at them, telling them about, I don't know, now got a lot of like those trans positive movement, asking the kids to, like there's a lot of topics that is easily tainted nowadays, innocence.
I'm not gonna say anything like I'm not against or like for anything, let's say, with regards to the LGBTQ plus movement, yes. But exposure to the internet and people just making it normal in a sense to be I don't know what the term is, not heterosexual, let's say. So this exposure in general has caused a lot of people a lot of confusions.
Yep.
And you don't want that, especially at a sort of young age.
I'm not saying that
You want to
like,
do irreversible things.
yeah, like sometimes just having exposed to this, planting a seed can cause a lot of like you say confusion. And the confusion, you'll never know what it will germinate into. What if afterwards the confusion forces or like just nice life throws them some way to ruin their innocence further. And of course they'll take it because it aligns, it's like downstream from the seed that you have planted.
And all the trends for like homosexuality in schools or everything, like now the average, right? In the past it used to be like 2 or whatever percent, like super low percent, and it just skyrocketed up. And like, I'm
Yeah.
not saying anything. Like, you can be
I
gay
don't-
if you want to. I'm fine with
I don't
that.
think we have problem with that.
Yeah.
Like personally, I don't have a problem. I wouldn't say friends, but acquaintance that are not straight, and I'll just speak to them as like they are just another person.
I mean, they are just another person.
Yeah.
That's a thing to acknowledge.
My take on this is just don't go around causing a potentially negative impact to people's life. Don't go and like try to influence a kid or whatever. Like let their parents do that thing. If they are the parents, then if the parents are the one like teaching the kids the wrong stuff, that's up to them. But if you are, I think now with internet, people just like to post their own thoughts and stuff. Then this year in a version that is like polarizing, so that it gets attention, it gets more views. Yeah, and kids are getting exposed to this. Yeah, like personally, when I was young, also, I think we see a lot of like weird stuff growing up. Internet has
the early
dark
stage
corners.
internet is completely different from the internet now. In terms of now, the internet is more curated. So they have like algorithms, feeds. There is quite a bit of censoring. In the past, it was, what do you call it? Like Wild West. You can just go there, find the most obscure, random, very deep, dark things.
YouTube used to have porn on it.
Yeah.
I used to watch I think some Chinese, it's not like hardcore or whatever, it's just I think soft porn on YouTube. Now you try to search, okay, there are still like softcore in a sense, but it's a very different way. Like it's more like a TikTok style kind where like you can see a lot of stuff, but it's not really like there's no
the standards
sex.
for like being conservative, like have like like what is considered like dressing conservatively change also. Like.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of it also comes from the Western influence. Like it or not, white people or just in general in the States, UK, a lot of the degeneracy kind of seeps into the internet and people are influenced. You can see people from more conservative areas or like geographical areas are just getting influenced by that.
Is let's say if you have a platform, then you have leverage, you have responsibility. Great power comes great responsibility. So generally, people who have platforms, are they the type of people who will be quiet and conservative? They will be the ones outspoken. Hey guys, like super loud, obnoxious maybe, but generally in an argument, like a lot, like early arguments, very immature arguments, it's always who can shout the loudest. That is the metric that like determines who gets heard and who gets. You're fighting for a status or power, like, in that sense.
In the sense, like it goes back to, I got a very good example in the sense of Christianity. The reason why a lot of, I guess, like free thinkers or whatever are against Christianity, they get turned off by the idea is because those black sheep are the loudest and they impact the most people. Those people that go around trying to like pressure people or use.
It's the bad religious people that really make a case for like atheism. Like there's no God, because like literally the God people, let's say, are the worst people on earth.
Yeah. It's like if all the examples in your life of religious people are like just rotten, why would you become a religious person? It's a bad example. But I guess also recently there's a surge in people that are better examples. You can find them more nowadays, more prevalent on the internet.
It really took time in a sense.
But you still need to make an effort to get there. Maybe curate a better algorithm, like your YouTube feed, your Instagram feed needs to slowly, like you need to click not interested in all the degeneracy. I think that's something that you did, right?
I did sometimes, but most of the time my algorithm knows me. My bestie algorithm. Even on YouTube, now they democratized it maybe more, so there are even smaller channels who get recommended to a lot of people. So there's more exposure. It's more equal in a sense. Larger creators the standard for content has raised.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really curate. I grew up on the internet, and I just let the algorithm guide me to wherever it wanted me to go. And it led me down to like, I've been exposed to really, because what people post on their social media, YouTube is social media also, is the best curated sort of work. They're not going to show you like their day-to-day, like being like, even all the being for real lifestyle vlogs, whatever, they're still, they're only showing the highlights of the day, bro. Like,
the only real, for real, 100% authentic is if you follow them for their whole entire day.
And if they don't even know you're there, so you're not like streamers as a whole, they're performative still. They know the camera's recording them, there's a chat. They're trying to engage.
There's a reason why they say streaming is exhausting. Because you have to perform. You cannot be fully 100% yourself when you know you are being broadcasted to the World Wide Web.
And Instagram, for me, most people show their top 5% or bottom 5%. Like, there are actually very few people also, like, because of insecurity, they hide their like bottom 5% of experiences, like their lowest low, their rock bottom. As I said, I took time to have to like process my past before I was even able to share that. And
we are also finding how to make content while still being authentic, while having positive impact in other people's life. Like we can, I think, we are not being 100% authentic even like now. Like we cannot just talk about what we talk about when there's no camera on us. But we have like guidelines. We have a mission statement in a sense. So I guess
values, principles, like and values are like the core foundation of what everything will be.
Knowing about all this, learning about all this, like developing a character helps with your current way of like making content.
It is really a reflection of you. That's why watching our own podcast, to me is, as an artist, let's say I'm creating art, then the art will just reflect, because art is like subjective. That's what they say, right? So it will reflect more about like the audience members, like more about them than actually like me as the artist sort of thing. But I'm also simultaneously, because I'm looking at my own Instagram stories, all my creations, even this podcast, which I think was the tail end of my sort of, because you have to like say what you mean to figure out what you mean exactly, like, figuring myself out. Like it feels like this podcast was, and the first like 18 episodes in the end was still all part of my backstory.
Okay.
And I realized my backstory, just everything I do now everything I do in the present will become part of the past.
Then next time you just
my backstory keeps just expanding. It's never ending. It never ends. Like the process ahead is maybe longer than you expected, because as a child your time reference is like lesser. But you're born, your life has been shorter. So like your time reference is like, oh, this amount of time, like 1 year. That's so long. Like that's a larger percentage of my time. Like
so much novelty in a year.
Yeah.
Then when life starts to, it gets repetitive, but your backstory still expands because there's still new things. No matter how slow the new things come in, you're still expanding your worldview in that sense. Because you expose more to the world as you progress in the timeline, in your own timeline.
Yeah. You sort of, this is for me. In my own experience, it's sort of getting turned off by all the get abs in 90 days quick. Like that's what I started with, maybe. Like Igor Voitenko's calisthenics is in my room straight up. I started working out because I think like a girl in my life, we had something maybe, but then it like got bad because I myself had attachment issues. I was like, I got too attached, basically. I'm admitting. And then it was like to the point of being needy, coming off as needy. I didn't have my own life, whatever. I was just like obsessing over her and her life, put her on a pedestal. And then, yeah, I was like, so like the rebound, right? Like people, sometimes they rebound to other girls, whatever. Like
I can relate to that.
There's the sort of internal explosion where you explode onto other people.
Yep.
You make things other people's problems when you have a problem. For me, I'm more the internal explosion. So I will make a big deal of it in my head. Then I'll like boom, 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 whatever. So I'm containing the impact, but really I'm self-imploding. So yeah.
I think we all can relate to the attachment issue, then you get obsessed over someone. Because personally, just that happening over and over again to the point that until I went through like self-improvement and stuff, then I realized that I got work to do before I open myself up. So for that, let's do a change of pace. We talk about content creation this whole episode. So currently, are you single? Like,
Yes.
okay, you're single. Then you just now talk about attachment issue.
Mhm.
How do you go about addressing it?
Addressing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all this is in hindsight.
Okay.
I prepared for this segment because I knew I wanted to go deep into myself.
Mm.
And I have sort of in the legit past 2 weeks gone through a lot in terms of processing my past. So I have an entire journey.
Mm.
I will not go into the specifics or details of some things because I think they are, whether it's I'm uncomfortable with sharing it or I don't think I want to put it on the internet. At family issues, perhaps pervasive. I don't know, like ongoing in my life, maybe. But that's normal, right? Like every family has its issues. Not people may show you the best of their best family, but behind the scenes, obviously, there's always stuff. Mine was just sort of ongoing. And then at age 8 or 9, 8, I'm pretty sure, I took the school bus to and from home, to and from school, right? And basically an older guy. So he was 1 year older than me. I was 8, he was 9. He touched me. And then I was a young, sheltered Chinese boy in the Singapore context. It was multiracial. And I just didn't know how to cope because obviously coping mechanisms, capability of a child. So during that stage, it was whether it was on the bus, like hiding with a school bag, that sort of thing. Then also, or I said I wasn't going to go into the specifics, but I am sort of. Then it was like at the void deck because I was getting dropped off at my grandmother's house, and he lived like the block right next to my grandmother's house. So he would just also in like like a back alley, like staircase, sort of not staircase, but near to the staircase. He would try to do things.
Well, that must have been fucking traumatic.
And then you're a sheltered Christian kid raised like not knowing, like with a maybe not a good home environment, and you have no one. You feel that you have no one to go to.
Why do you feel that way? Why do you feel no one can support you, despite like all the things going on in your family?
Maybe it's precisely because I didn't have a safe environment. I had very little concept of what a safe environment is, where I can be open and be myself. Even like I went to church since I was a kid. I was born and raised. That camera died, but I was born and raised in the church. I've grown up going to church every Sunday or like now Saturday. So I had a sort of split personality where it's like go there and like sing songs, be very holy, like that sort of thing. Like, but then it's like a split. Trying to obviously emulate being perfect because Jesus is the archetypal perfect man. That sort of thing. Another realization I had is that I'm constantly comparing myself to. I have been for most of my life since I was exposed to him for my entire life, like constantly comparing myself to him, which probably added insecurity, a bunch of that, because imperfect.
And when you're doing something misaligned with your ideals, self, then what do you feel from that?
Obviously, it's all the shame.
Shame.
Yeah, mostly shame and fear, because there's the fear of I'm splitting myself two ways. So I have like how I am from Monday to Saturday
Then
versus Sunday. Like Sunday switch. Oh God, yes. Then after that, back to normal. Go to school. Do some weird shit like watch YouTube. It's like incongruency in that sense. Really screwed me up as a kid already. I think
then when
that
the
happened.
traumatic thing happened,
Yes, I
you
didn't
must
have
feel a lot of shame also.
because I had no home to run back to and tell my parents of like this happened to me. Like so I had no physical home, maybe spiritual home, maybe. And it's like left to my own devices. And I was already, because as now kids with exposure to the internet, they are getting, or maybe not even exposure to the internet, I'm not even sure, but they are getting more, how do you say? They get curious, you get curious at like certain ages about like other people, like the other gender, things like that. And yeah. So at that age already, I was already curious then that you're like, oh, okay, this happened to me. But like, because obviously there is unknowing, whether it's unknowing or whatever, I had a part to play in it.
So you had a part, so you feel
And it felt taboo. Like I cannot talk about this to people. Like, cause my parents also didn't talk about it. So it's like, oh, no one to talk to.
that you equate
Contain.
this type of actions or happenings with like just shame, in a sense, like
It's
that you have
not
a
even having
fault.
exposure to like, oh, this can happen. So I was just me as a child figuring out, oh, this happened to me. Is this normal? Has to be or something. I don't know what I was thinking. Cannot put myself back in that shoes that well.
But it just brings a lot of negative emotion into your life that you have to do other things to cope with that.
I realized like, everything I like I don't know if that was part of like why I started, because that was, let's say, forced upon intimacy, so against my will. And then yeah, I've been living in the aftermath of that. Like whether I suppressed it right after, I think I did, then escape from the reality that was my life experience at that young age
We all try
into
to live per normal, like whatever normal is already
self-sustain,
after
like
that.
self-preservation in the aftermath of that. And I don't know how long it was. Maybe it was even 10 years because I escaped to food, pornography. I started like maybe I started with like erotica and stuff like that. Besides the point, yeah, I had like basically a sex addict. I was a sex addict, yes, of some sort, for even like 7 years, or more even, before I got exposed to like more ideas. The main thing that helped me with that was sort of, I had like deviated. I left the home, like mentally. I was still going to church every week, but I sort of just stopped believing. It's like that, sort of tune out because I was in self-preservation state.
Like if you were to not tune out and face what you are doing to cope with whatever trauma and the aftermath of it, living in the aftermath of it, then you'll be like, you'll feel even worse about yourself if you don't tune it out. Like if you believe in it, if you continue have 100% faith in it, then you're like, oh, then why am I doing this? Like you have to
It
tell
used to
yourself,
be
I'm going to hell.
like it's hearing the things like God has like a perfect plan for you, everything, but then you're in the moment still. So yeah, like if this happened to me, like how is this like even good? Like would a good God like allow this to happen to me? That sort of like personal attachment, resentment towards a higher power, maybe. And yeah, it was that realization, like going back to that and thinking, so perhaps entertaining the possibility that perhaps there is a God who is all seeing, all knowing, all present, something. like that sort of helped with my addiction in terms of like I'm being watched at all times. Like
Mm.
so maybe performative, but in my opinion, what I came to even like back then was that if I am being watched, but that motivates me to do better, then like
So be it.
so be it. Like you're the average of the 5 people. Like if you surround yourself with people who are like want the best for you, then yeah, you will do better. They will not tolerate you being like a sack of shit.
Mm.
Which I believe I was in the past.
Your standards
They raise your
it raises your standard just by believing, rekindling the faith in there's such being watching over you.
that was the one of the things. Then exposure to like 𝐓𝐈𝐍𝐶 and like NoFap. That was like the catalyst. I was like, oh, people are doing this, like because I didn't know. Also, I also didn't know like people are have like it wasn't very widespread or like to know that people have like these sort of addictions, right?
Yep.
It was just like, oh, I myself have this problem. Like the worst it ever got was when I was doing weird shit on Discord, like with guys maybe when I was confused, and then like friends wise on like calls, or like even the girl I mentioned earlier. I am very apologetic to very apologetic. I'm very sorry. Like I did some weird shit, like, and I admitted. Now,
in the moment, I also done a lot of weird shit, and in the moment, you, especially right afterwards, you will feel like, what the fuck? Who am I? Like,
you feel the
why am I
shame,
like this?
like
Yeah.
it's all the shame that will like press you, like keep you boxed inside, and so you don't learn from it unless you actually like. But yeah, you're in the emotion, so it's like you're dealing with the aftermath right after the fact. Very hard.
And also, like, I guess at that point of time, when we were young, like I said, we didn't have the right guidance in the sense we couldn't even support ourselves through all these things. So we just have to cope. We have to preserve ourselves.
The internet only recently became, and social media especially, became more widespread like now, and a lot of our parents were not equipped to deal with it was a rapidly advancing like space as a whole. So I do not blame my parents at all for like my upbringing. I mean, they are the reason for like sort of they can explain away like why I am the way I am, certain traits I have. I mean, but that makes sense because I came from them. But yeah, I don't blame them for my childhood.
I mean,
Because
if
they are
you,
humans also. I have to acknowledge that
Yeah.
they are humans and they are imperfect. They have like flawed. They have flaws. Everyone has flaws.
this empathy, like I think I mentioned this before. If you were to go into someone's shoes, fully be him or her, went through exactly everything they went through, whatever, everyone got their own trauma, or not even trauma, just happenings in their life, on like cause and effect. Like, every
Explain why
single
they
thing,
are
yeah,
the way
they
they
explain
are.
why they are. You will do the exact same thing as they were. They have
If
done.
you had all their experiences, you would do exactly the same thing.
Yeah, so it's really not their fault, but the objective truth is that we didn't have the support system. Like our own negative self-talk was bad also. How we deal with shame. We have to drown the shame out because of the way we speak to ourselves also. Like, yeah, what the fuck? I'm like I'm a creep, or I'm a devil, or like I'm evil. Things like this will surface. Maybe not consciously thinking about that, but you can feel
It's unconscious.
the
A
inner
lot of it is
voice.
unconscious. Like you don't have to put a name to it.
Yeah, like,
I mean, Pascal has this quote: "To understand is to forgive." So I realized, why do I have so much? I realized a younger me had so much hatred, so much resentment for the world, for my brother, for my parents, like to God. I just had so much build up inside of me, and then like I can say I was containing it, but really it was just bleeding out to everyone else in my life, like unconsciously.
And through self-improvement, I guess you're able to really contain it in the sense that it doesn't harm people around you, and it gets you to a state like through meditation, through all this, through journaling, through learning about the right values, right character. I guess it helped you to, like, you fix the addiction in a sense, but have not the root cause. Root cause, you're still I think most of us is an ongoing journey. Maybe it might not resolve so easily, or like the way it resolve wouldn't be how you think it will be resolved. It's not like one day it will magically disappear.
It is acknowledging that if you have been hurt before, which we've all been hurt before,
Mhm.
there are some scars that are just more permanent.
Mm.
There are marks, and what utility do they serve? Perhaps as like reminders. I got a scar from my intern. The toilet roll, the metal toilet roll. I just whoop. Then it started like I saw my inside my skin for the first time. But yeah, scars. And yeah, there are psychological scars, physical scars. I had a lot less physical injury as a child, but yeah, the mental was definitely arguably is more persistent because it bleeds out to everything.
I mean, just to like say, I just want to say these are like you sharing this and being vulnerable. A lot of people already can relate. Like I believe I'm not saying that you're not special, but a lot of people went through this or like in their own way. Could be way worse, like if you were to look at it objectively, but in terms of how they feel, the intensity of it, how they deal with it, there is some resemblance of like personally, even me, when you are sharing some pictures of my past also flash through my mind. How I deal with it, then afterwards, what kind of person I became, how I channel the I guess the tabooness of whatever that hurt me into how maybe I also hurt people before in one way or the other, or I hurt myself, and to and just it went into a negative cycle of like just keep doing the things that make you feel that shame. Then you just keep doing it.
It like there's a difference between like exposure as a whole. Like we were exposed to many things as a young age.
Mm.
Maybe what you want is titrated, like curated, like exposure to the world. You want like my sharing right now, even in my own personal like Instagram, my life, my online digital life has been more to be a testament of like hope, like the possibility that you can even finally like escape. You can heal. Like there is a possibility, potential.
And you do it by maximizing the few pillars of life first. Like you might not be able to heal right now, but if you get your health in check, if you are doing the right few habits every day, if you fix your habits, if you have if you slowly fix your relationship with yourself, with God, with your closest friends and family, perhaps that the healing process can take place naturally. You don't feel lost anymore. It will just come about.
There is a path forward. Like because we are all like self-contained in our heads. There are like psychological barriers between every single being.
Yep.
That sort of thing. So the way that we connect to people, it's not through like like their best like sort of thing. We are looking at it and we look at their like obviously as a friend. What is a good friend? A friend who is happy when something good happens to you, and then like able to like be sad with you when like have like empathy for you when things go wrong in your life. And yeah, people actually like pain as a motivator. Like there's a reason why it sort of was so wide. It became such a like such an instinctive thing to a lot of us, like lashing out, like fighting people. Like it is in a sense innate, and people will connect more to the like your vulnerability, your story, your pain, your imperfections. Like the song what I hear a symphony, perfection is so quick to bore, that sort of thing. Like is accepting that you are not perfect Like there is a lot of like whether you think like whether it stems from pride, like you feel shame, like or you think you're like you're arrogant, you really think you're high and mighty, or you're small, you don't like deserve
Mm.
to like exist even.
Like you're ruined.
Yeah. You're unworthy. You're either unworthy or like you're too worthy. You worthless.
Yeah, your self-worth stems from all the pain that happened in your life, I guess. Like all the negative evidences that prove that, or maybe I don't deserve a good life. I don't deserve a good partner even. I guess we all tend to further self-sabotage as well.
Mm.
Like that personally, like that could be a very, very big reason why I'm still like single. Although objectively speaking, I guess like we are on the right path. We are doing all self-improvement stuff, but we haven't really healed a lot of the past. And I guess bringing back to like
The path I don't think you can ever know. Yeah, but yeah.
I guess like it deviated into more like you sharing your context and your like the pain that kind of grows out to everything. But currently, what are you doing to slowly attract the right partner? Or do you think that you still have to find somebody that is hurt in a way that is also getting out, like similar to you in that sense? Do you think you can find someone
Okay.
that you don't need to trauma bond with?
There are concepts here. So my entire process, I realized when I look back, it was based on Jordan Peterson video on like how we can make the world better. This is how we make the world better.
Yep.
And like in that he covers like you want to find a partner who is like really authentic for you. Like you want to be yourself, really authentically. You want to figure yourself out before you even go and find a partner. And then during that relationship, you want to be yourself also. Because like they actually love you for who you are, like in all your ability and catastrophe. Like,
You for you, no?
yeah, all your best and your worst. Like you want them to love you for you. Yeah. And that was something I listened to, I think now exactly last year. Yeah, exactly last year actually. And since then, I realized that I have so much more to go, because I thought I found myself back then. I mean, okay, to what extent did I maintain like that's the thing. I was not in homeostasis, like just staying the same throughout the entire thing. I was still like changing. Like the world around me will keep changing, even though personally I may be boxed in my head.
But do you think that you might have just used self-improvement like okay, it's moving towards the right direction, but do you think that you would have just rely too much into it? Like you equate being this biohacker into equates to you being worthy of love, being worthy of. Do you think that could be happening?
Could be happening.
Yeah, like you make it part of your identity so that you have reinforces your self-worth. Like, let's say like take omega-3 supplement. Like, let's just say like back then, like subconsciously, like, me taking this action is undoing, it's like a form of
compensation for what passed me.
Of past you feeling that pain, feeling the shame, then afterwards doing stuff that that hurt other people, that you feel guilty of, even more shameful of. Maybe not hurt directly.
I think now to me, self-improvement, like that entire phase of my life, whether it's even now, continuously because it's ongoing, but that like first beginning period where early day Hamza, before he started deviating and everyone started like hating on him because he makes his own mistakes. Like good that he's finally back. But that period was in a sense for me to catch up, really get back, because my health, everything, learning, I shut off. I was consuming content, entertainment nonstop, no education. Even in school, my school system, my school journey, I built up a lot of evidence that I couldn't, like I was dumb maybe because I was in a very more prestigious school, and I was quite literally in the room I was. The classroom I was in, the classes I was in, they were like super hyper intelligent people who are actually like book smart. Like I don't believe I was ever that book smart. Maybe primary school, but like those were like the foundations. So like once it got to more specific stuff,
Were
I
you at
shut
the
off already.
bottom?
Like,
Were you at the bottom of the class?
definitely for secondary school, yes. Primary school, I was like, okay, but yeah, there was even more traumatic stuff that happened in P6 and I think secondary 1.
Mm.
So around so going into secondary school, I had more stuff.
And that is when you are the most plastic. You're learning the most. You are becoming
And
your own person.
it will determine also like your possible paths going forward also. So for me, it was in the end I went into poly and stuff like that. But yeah, it reinforced a lot of things. So in my head, and maybe so I negative reinforcement cycle of despair, hopelessness, everything went down. Then after that, I had to go back go back up because go to one extreme, then go to the other extreme, then now maybe settle in the middle. So it was part of my past, but I had to sort of that's why lose myself in a sense. And I lost my past identity in a sense. Like so really identity switch into this new sort of I'm maybe high and mighty, able to cook, able to like I cook, I gym, I read, I write. Like that was my like ideals of my top 5% I'm trying to show to people. I realized also when I was creating my highlights for like that period of my life. But I was also in isolation. So I left from all my school and I was more alone. So I left with my family also in terms of shifting out into my own room. So I shared a room with my brother and my family for like most of my like 15 years of my life, the first 15 years of my life.
Yep,
yeah. So moving out of that, like whether figuratively or actually leaving the nest, let's say, like learning how to adult, like take responsibility for my own life in terms of sustaining myself, keeping things clean. Never my strong suit since I grew up with like domestic helpers, maids at home since I have 2 siblings, so like 3 of us. And my parents are working, that sort of thing. I had to learn how to figure like when I started learning how to cook and everything myself, it felt like, oh, I'm adulting, I'm doing things right. Then it was like positive reinforcement. When I think it got too high, then my pride, everything started like that's it, yeah, I'm now back in I understand, I have a wider view also because like detaching from that self-improvement, like rapid growth at the start. Then it's realizing, yeah, once you go past the hill, it's like steady climb. That's the main idea. And now I'm on a steady climb.
I think it's good that you're even experiencing this at your age. You're 19. I only recently, at like age of 23, realizing this, like a lot of all this internal, I get a lot from like inflating my ego by building all this evidence. But I realized that at the end of the day, feeling this sense of superiority or like feeling like tapping into pride way too much always will lead me into burning out. One day when something went wrong, it's like if you have to feel pride to keep the things going, like to keep my identity of like, oh, I clean, I cook, I gym. Then when things are not going right,
All of a sudden, your identity collapses.
like
And
did I just do all the self-improvement thing and for nothing? But we all, like what I realized now is that it's a steady climb, like you said. Just about facing things as it is, then trying to do your best at every single moment, reflecting onto it, using the knowledge we gain and applying it, like sharing with someone, talking it out. Recently, I came across this quote: "All problems are interpersonal relationship problems."
I don't know how, I don't think it's all problems.
I think it's all problems because we live in a world whereby we have to talk to other people.
Because there's then there's intrapersonal, which is like inside you. Because so that you have your you problems, like
Well, your
because
you
selfish.
problems isn't it stemming from your past, which is affected by other people? So isn't it kind of your relationship with someone?
takeaway when I was preparing for one of these podcasts that I never actually got to was that everything in life is about relationships. It's your relationship to yourself, first and foremost, the relationship to other people around you, the world around you. Then also your relationship, for me, is also like, okay, the order was a bit wrong. For me, it's like God first, like my relationship with God. Then after that, my relationship with myself, like as a being, because my ego regulates that sort of thing. Then other people. So everything relationships are all problems in life. Like if you have a relationship problem with yourself, then you don't have self-worth, all that stuff. If you don't have relationship problems with other people, or wait, even things like if you define your identity yourself with like actions, like doing things, or I attach my worth to this very cool iPad, Huawei MatePad, 13.2 inch. Uh, if I attach myself, human having, human doing boxing, then that's like a unhealthy relationship. And it took me detaching myself from even maybe losing a lot of my wellness sort of habits, a lot of things that were positively reinforcing me to to, it goes back to pride like for me it became pride also, but I was more unconscious. I realized you yourself kept asking me do you all these things like based on like because you want to feel like superior to others, like pride? And I was like,
Because that is what I feel. I feel I audit my own life and how I feel and what kept me going and whether it's good or not. I realized that I don't know a lot. Like even this phrase that I came across, at first I was like, cannot be. And like I try to become a devil's advocate for myself, like it must be. Like it's an extreme man. Then I realized that there's some truth to it. In the sense that your relationship yourself is impacted by your past. And your past is formed, all the pain, all the trauma, it's formed by how you're in your relationship with someone else. Like that one trauma caused you to maybe do more of the self-destructive stuff that caused you to deviate from like having a shittier relationship with yourself. And to I'm not offering a solution or like how to fix all these problems, but something must have stemmed from dealing with people. How we, like even it could be because we didn't have a good support system from our family and closest friend. And that could be the root cause fixing your relationship with your family. That could be the solution. I don't know.
sometimes you have to spend time apart, like grow apart, like have some detachment maybe from people, like so lack of connection. For me, it was that period. That's why monk mode even works. You're detaching yourself from like the outside world around
does
you.
it work though?
Okay, this is for me personally, because I'm an INTP, but like 50-50. Like my I and E are very introversion, extroversion are very 50-50. I go into states of extreme solitude. And then when I'm in solitude, I'm it's not like I'm doing nothing or like very boring things. I'm still watching content and everything. So I realized at that stage, that self-improvement stage for me, like catching up, I was just, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I wasn't spending time with people in my life. I was spending time alone. I mean, I shifted out of my house, everything. Like I was just surrounded by my 5 content creators, influencers. They were like Tim Ferriss, Chris Williamson, Alex Hormozy, Hamza, Huberman. Like those were I was just pigeonholed in my room, or even if outside my room, like YouTube just constantly playing through my ears. I was just surrounded myself with them. And like that was my mom mode, but I was still going to like the gym. Like I started trying new things out. So for me, I go into extreme solitude, extreme like extroversion. So I'll spend a lot of time, like spend entire days like socializing with people. That's how I like to do it. And Pascal also, I think, has this quote like, there is no such thing like solitude is like necessary for like greatness. Yeah. Solitude is necessary for greatness.
Because I asked this question because I personally also wonder, because when I go through monk modes, I went through a few. It's very easy to say, oh, it helped me a lot because it's very easy to track how much progress I've made for the goals that I had. But is being extreme, like is making progress when you're in extreme solitude a good thing. Then when you go back to extreme socializing, then you start to deviate again. Then maybe the problem could is sourced from how you deal with people, in a sense. Like you kind of, what I'm trying to say is that if you cannot grow when you're surrounded with people, could that be a problem? That
I mean, monk mode is the monk mode is the solution to that problem in a sense. But yeah, it is like if you have so many problems, you have to detach from the environment where you have so many problems, even so you can like maybe reflect on yourself, introspect, figure out why do I have so many problems with them? Is it them or is it me? Oh, it's me. I so I was so down bad, let's say. Then I was like, oh, so I'm down bad. Like, why? Is the entire world? I blame the entire world around me, or do I blame myself?
Mm.
And then take responsibility, and from there do better. Not
Okay.
everyone needs monk mode, but like I think I needed it. Like, and I also like solitude. Personal preference. It's up to you. It's in context dependent.
I also needed it, and I am going to go into a sort of a monk mode soon also. But it's very hard for me. Like I apologize for not being able to articulate what I'm trying to say now, or what I'm even trying to figure out, because I'm just in the moment just trying to figure everything out also. But if everything is interpersonal problem, let's take this quote as a objective truth lah. It all stems from interpersonal relationships. Then is temporarily removing yourself from the interpersonal relationship in your life to have, I guess, fake relationship with online creators, with authors, so that you improve in a sense of not success but superiority, in that sense. Like you kind of improve your traits, you improve your knowledge, your wisdom, your body. But when you go back to, when you indulge yourself into what a human should feel, like having real people around you, then you start to, your life becomes shaky again. Could that, is there another form of solution? Or like, I don't,
Change is the only constant, and your relationship to your relationship to the feminine. So everything that changes, you're changing mind, you're changing body. So your changing mind might tell you to go do a monk mode, and then you do the monk mode. But then just because you've changed doesn't mean the world around you has changed that much, right? I mean, everything's changing, but like the people you know, if they're not doing things like these, it's so like hyper fixating over like improvement, obsessing over every small little detail, like I think we do, then they will not change as much or as fast, especially if they're older also, neuroplasticity. So then you have changed, the dynamics around them will change also. And you have to solve, beyond dealing with your own change by improving, you have to deal with the change in terms of environment, because you come out of the nest, come out of your little cocoon. And then you have to help the people around you also deal with your change. Because your change also causes impact on everyone around you, your loved ones, friends. And now you have to deal with that change. How you deal with change.
What I think is that we have to do all this monk mode stuff temporarily or whatever, just to be more competent in life, to provide more value so that we get back the value. Of course, we can do it elsewhere in a slower manner, as long as we have the right goals or whatever. But I think it's good to go into this if you are somebody that needs it. But once you get there, once you got resources, I think it's very important to curate the real things that are meaningful in life, which is, at the end of the day, a really strong and intimate like support system with your family and friends, like closest friends, your brothers, so that you all can. And apart on that, you want to start real. I say real healing in the best way, because I'm not saying that other things are not real, but like go through some sort of professional help, maybe therapy, maybe I don't know, a lot of people nowadays. I'm not exposed to this, but there are some like psychedelic or all this in like outside, but just go through some sort of therapy seriously. I treat it seriously
Mm.
because we can go through ghost mode for 1 year, come back. You know, all the YouTube titles come back
Yeah.
unrecognizable and stuff, but unrecognizable, but how you deal with people haven't changed. At the end of the day, history might repeat if the root cause is not clear.
Yeah, the problems that you have will keep repeating themselves. The challenges you're sort of presented with, like trials, tribulations, whatever you want to call them, until you learn the lesson and like you figure out the root cause, like it'll just keep happening to you. You keep wondering, why is this person like that to me? Like, why is our relationship so like bad? Until you find the cause, and then you do something about it. You cannot really, yeah. But it is seasons, purpose layers. So really, I look at everything as purpose layers. I'm slowly uncovering my core, finding myself, which means I was once lost. Monk mode can be a layer of purpose. Sometimes you need isolation. You can ask yourself, is it normal to have access to everyone, all my friends, like 24/7, 365? Or is it more normal to have, some in the past, the people go on like trips that like lasted like a few months at a time and then come back like with no contact other than like maybe writing letters, like mail, messages, maybe. Maybe that could be what monk mode is trying to emulate. Like going back to past, less constant bombardment with like, like what? Apparently, if you put your phone next to you or something in the room, and there's like notifications, right? Like, that will cause you like worse sleep than like if you just left it outside. Like, it'll cause you like super bad sleep because you're constantly on like paranoia mode. Even your phone in your room, maybe monk mode is just trying to resolve that.
Yeah, and monk mode still requires you to know what you're doing it for. Like
The intention.
one of the basic is knowing the goals, having an objective out of the monk mode, knowing the macro and micro goals, what you are trying to achieve, and why are you trying to achieve it. That's why monk mode is good in that sense. It aligns what you are doing with your goals and why you are doing what. Why do you even have those goals in the first place? Why are you trying to get more resources? What are you trying to use the resources for? Is it for just pleasure, or is it for you to gain the resources that can help you to solve the issues that you have, or how you, and let's say like a lot of the issue last time could be didn't have enough resources. Your parents are trying to get more resources. That's why you didn't get the support from them, or that's why they were fighting or whatever. Then it snowballed to now. So like now you want to get the resources so that either you can fix yourself, then the future generation do not have the same issue also. Things like this. Or maybe even go back and help your parents.
Like learning all this information, tools and everything, figuring out how to bring it back home and then like help improve like things. Because you want to make the world, even your own world in your head, a better place. John C. Maxwell has this quote I read from the 16 undeniable laws of communication. He wrote a song about it also, in the end. Someone recorded it. But I'll use it for myself since I think it applies perfectly to my life. I had to find myself. So I was once lost, let's say, lost to the world, I lost my authentic like self. Maybe I've lost many old past versions of myself. I had to find myself so that I can know myself, know thyself, do all the tests and everything, psychometric tests. So I could be myself, so be congruent with my soul, maybe. So who I actually am, figure that out, and then act on it, like act it out, like be myself, not try to emulate. I mean, obviously there are some, but like you have to expose yourself to everything in the world. Maybe that's what I did with the internet, to know what I want to do, what I don't want to do, what I like, what I don't like. So yeah, finding myself was you have to filter out through every single thing in the entire online space, maybe. you may be in rabbit holes and everything, but like still you have a broad sort of awareness. Find myself, to know myself, to be myself, to improve myself. So then self-development, improve my health, improve on all these. So like I know I like doing content creation, art, maybe. I like business. I'm going to do that in the future. Like marketing, psychology, all these spheres, there are skills involved with those. So I want to improve those skills. So I may have natural proclivities to do those things, but but I may not be competent at all. And I realized also throughout the past, like, know what you don't know. I know a lot of like incompetencies of my own. Find myself, know myself, improve myself. Find myself, know myself, be myself, improve myself, so that I can get over myself. Because with all the like improving your competency, right, your skill, then you think you're so high and mighty, like able, like so capable. For me, it was like what, Leonardo da Vinci, what, polymath, can do everything, that sort of thing. That's an ideal to live up to, right? Like, and like it will keep going on throughout my entire life. So like having the pride sort of thing, get over myself. Like I cannot restrict myself. Like this is the way I am. I'm valuable because of my competencies. Yeah, get over myself so that I can give myself to you, so I can give myself to everyone in my life.
Okay, then I have a question that with regards with like being yourself and giving yourself. Who are you? Like to the audience watching and to me, who are you? What is the soul that you say you align yourself with?
So
Is it a polymath thing, or is that just a ideal that someone else says is good? That's why you resonated with it. Who are you intrinsically, like what motivates you as a person?
okay, the polymath thing as a guideline was useful because when I was young, I always had like no idea what I was going to do. I knew that I was quite competent, so I had like baseline. I wasn't studying in primary school. I did pretty okay, so my basics were fine. But once it got past that, I was like, I don't see a point in like delving into specifics. I like to be. When I was younger, I preferred.
Jack of all trades.
Even now, I realize I don't want to box myself into one label, one role, in a sense.
Same.
Like
Yeah.
where I have just this one set task I have to just do repeatedly, maybe like with not a lot of skill ceiling. So maybe what stood out to me about Leonardo da Vinci development of a complete mind was the
You already aligned
potential
with the
possibilities.
how you enjoy learning.
The masculine pursuit of freedom. The freedom, like I wanted freedom to do anything I wanted to do, like express myself in any way. And that may be entrepreneurship, maybe music, maybe film. I want to do all these things.
Why?
I want to do desire. I've layers of purpose, core desire. I don't know. I didn't want to label myself I didn't want to label myself. That's why I don't know. I wanted freedom in a sense, but then it took like the polymath, the jack of all trades, master of life, 𝐓𝐈𝐆𝐍𝐶𝐒 quote, for me to realize, it's possible for people, even like listening to Leonardo da Vinci's entire autobiography by Walter Isaacson, exposure in a sense, to figure out that may be a closer layer to my core purpose.
So what I'm hearing is you want the core desire is freedom.
An all encompassing label that gives me freedom. So I don't have like a ceiling bound over my head.
So in order to get the freedom from going to any, like being bound to anything, you put a label
No,
to escape
I found the all encompassing label and I resonated with that. That's why I know my soul, I kept going back to this, maybe out of pride or try to seem mighty or whatever.
We all do that. Yeah.
The James Clear quote that says, an entrepreneur's mind, an athlete's body, and then an artist's soul.
But why?
But why?
Wh-
Are we
why
doing
do you,
the? This is the.
why do you need all this?
This is the Toyota
It's a bit like
model of like asking the 5 whys thing to keep like getting to the visceral, very like core why. That's how you can find your purpose. I have never done this, and I thank you for challenging me here.
it's a bit more philosophical than
Mm.
we are used to, but we do need to know why, what moves, what makes us tick that way towards like trying to be,
To know yourself. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Do we just want to get accepted? Is that it?
I want to. That's why acceptance.
Will you have a athlete's body, a artist soul, if there's no other people on this earth? Like,
Yeah.
or
Okay. That's a hypothetical.
is it
I-
still an interpersonal relationship problem? Okay, I'm asking too many
I
questions.
know. I think
Sorry.
that is something I could think about deeper.
Oh.
As I try to, cause right now I'm still posting everything, a lot of things on my Instagrams. So I know that there is a lot because of performative sort of look. That affects me a lot. For the not next 70 days, but from next week onwards, 70 days, I have a holiday period, and I want to really go, let's say, ghost radio silence on my Instagram. So I'm not the output aspect, because my output has been just constant sort of thing. I want to like retract that. I did 7 days for my birthday. I uncovered my trauma. Recently, 2 weeks leading up to this, I've been dealing with my. I actually realized that I actually did sort of process it fully, in a sense, again. I mapped out like my entire life, beginning and end sort of thing. So I want to do another experiment, say treating monkhood as an experiment, treating your life as an experiment, experience. So new experiences, they're not always like adding something. Sometimes it's just subtracting something. So I'm subtracting that to see whether, without the performance, without other people's expectations of me, or minimizing it to like a necessary minimum, am I still the same like person? Do I still have the same desires, like sort of thing? And will I go actually act on because now I have a lot of desires to want to go and film all that stuff. Yeah. So see whether I can actually follow through on it. But if you want my why, I think it's love her. It's either I want to love others to the best I can, and I want someone to love me. Goes back to, I mean, that's the most basic primal desire, in a sense, for like attraction, connection.
Yep. Same. And also when it comes to love, the way I love myself, it's validated through how I think other people would love me, which is an unhealthy thing. But a lot of my core desires is from there, like wanting to be accepted and loved by other people. Like even like, why do I want to be? Why do I need to be in? Like I have a goal of like 15% body fat. Why? It all stems from like other people, which is not saying that it's bad, because if it's getting you healthier, there is some use case, but that is not the root problem in that sense. Like there is still another problem there, that I haven't have the capacity or the resources, the time. Maybe I have all this, but I'm just avoiding. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like a lot of things I don't know. So that's why I'm asking as a person trying to find the answer also. Not asking as in like I expect you to have the answer.
You can't. You can only. This is what really one of my main takeaways from, I don't know, some video I watched. As with everything, synthesizing, we can only bridge like we can only go very broad, and then like sometimes go deep. Like for me, maybe my story, but the sources in terms of all our brains, we have our conscious mind, and then we have the unconscious mind. Our conscious mind is like the analogy of a little like CPU chip or something. You can, a computer that can only hold one train of thought at a time. You can only think of one thing at a time. You can you can multitasking is like a myth. You cannot multitask. You're just juggling two different things. Like your brain, conscious brain, only one sort of thing at a time. And then when you sleep, your conscious brain, night night. Unconscious mind is like the guy used a meme of like the Doge, like the little dog, and then like a super buff like dog, the meme dog.
Yep.
Yeah. So your unconscious mind is like that. Like it runs 24/7. It is unconsciously influencing everything you do.
Mm-hmm.
And then even for me, when I use conscious mind and then I dictate like what I want to do. I want to watch this YouTube video. Then I will sleep on it for a few days, 2 days. Then I'll start teaching it. I realize. Then even with problems that people tell me, like in conversation, they reveal like problems that they're dealing with, things they need help with. Then I'm like, my brain, okay, like go through the entire library of information that I have stored in my head, go to the back of my mind unconsciously. Then it will like bring like surface up a solution of sorts that I share with the other person. Your unconscious mind is so much more powerful. Like it's like 10 times or even more like powerful than your conscious
I think
brain.
it's just because of the volume. Like who you are is mostly made of unconscious mind. But recently I went to this kind of like a self-improvement workshop thing. It's a free word. It's like the first introductory thing. They release it for free. Basically get you to sign up. They just give you it was just 2 days ago. Two days ago. Yeah. What the person shared was that how you can view your subconscious and unconscious mind, and your conscious mind is like an iceberg, which is, I think in psychology it is an iceberg. But the way he say is that by doing the shadow work, by doing the inner work, you lower the sea line that reveals more of the bringing what he put. I know what I know. I know what I don't know. Whatever that's below the sea line is I don't know what I don't know.
Exactly.
And lowering that line is through doing all this work and being open to the possibility that whatever you think you know now could be wrong also.
Mhm.
Like whatever we think that, Jordan B. Peterson said this person very smart. He said that whatever frames that we have now could not really serve our soul. Like we are not 100% sure that is right.
Yeah,
but
because we're
okay with
consuming
that.
so much,
Yeah.
like it's impossible to pinpoint exactly, but like, yeah.
But we are okay with that.
You have to use your conscious mind to dictate, like even go to meditate. That's why detaching from all that stuff and rearranging your mind, like organizing your mind, sorting it out, sort of thing. So that all the information you've consumed you can refer to it. You can even process it. That's why processing meditation for me as a thing. Like,
Yeah, but one thing I know that I agree with a lot of the information out there is that it is very dangerous when your mind become closed. And most mind are closed because they can't deal with the pain that they are wrong for so long, or they are wrong to that intensity. Or like, let's say I went through self-improvement. What if the truth for myself is that I do all this self-improvement stuff to avoid solving the root cause again, to avoid peeling back, or I do this, I teach people, I create the podcast, whatever, we go into this partnership, just a mutual coping that we do not need to solve our own problems because we are constantly solving other people's problems or the business's problem. What if the real way of living a life true to ourselves is not by doing all this, not by being an athlete, doing all this? It's just superficial desires. Like sometimes I thought about it, but I'm okay with it because I don't know yet. I'm slowly figuring out. And it's just a journey. I try to enjoy it. And even me trying to enjoy it could not be the right thing. Like there's no real way of knowing whether I'm on the right path. But doesn't mean that it won't be fulfilling if I set out this intention and I try to achieve it. Even if it's a wrong thing, as long as I like the layer of purpose thing, as long as I peel off that layer of purpose, that journey is fulfilling by itself already. Then the next layer of purpose could be us admitting that we were wrong. Maybe we are not. I'm not saying that we are, But I'm not saying that we are wrong as well.
The idea of the way the Superman, David Data
Do you think he's right?
teaches. I mean, okay, any form of idea can serve us now, but it will take legit hindsight to say whether it still serves me now or like it actually was. Like, because we will all justify what we learn, what our sources, everything.
Yeah. Because there's a chance that David Data also haven't have it all figured out. He just create a piece that we can link our own experiences to, like something more ambiguous.
Mhm.
And a lot of religions does that as well. Like, we like it or not, a lot of religion, their text or whatever, is very, very open to interpretation. And how and therefore we can use it to serve us or not. But knowing ourselves, that is a like lifelong process also.
It's religion as a whole for me as at least is really a personal relationship sort of thing. Yeah. So it's meant to be like a personal understanding connection. So like yeah.
Like, in order to have a relationship with God, you have to face yourself. If not, then you do not have the relationship with God when you are not there. If you're not present, if you do not know yourself at all. If you're like, oh, I want to be rich, I want to have this, I want to have that, how do you have a relationship with anything? Because you're kind of, in a sense, worshipping everything else except for yourself. Or like, I'm not asking you to worship yourself, but like, you get what I mean? Like, worshipping
even
the
being
relationship.
self-centered is like everyone has a God. It's just like whether like it's like a hierarchy kind of thing. God is the thing on top. God as a concept is the thing on top. So some people they reject all religion, but then they have themselves at the top of it. That's the sort of idea.
And we don't know whether who is right or who is wrong. We really don't know. We can have an ideal. And
The concept of religious texts as a whole is meant to be like, because everything is, if God is everything, then everything is chaos. You need like some, what do you call it, order, like structuring it, even though it's impossible to convey that, right? It's like, yeah, very hard things to talk about, but yeah.
Today I prepared quite a few questions for you, but we barely touched on a lot of them. But I did have a deeper connection by you being vulnerable and knowing how you feel about your past. In person, it feels different versus like reading.
Yeah, I was just trauma dumping on people, but
I think that is the way that's the thing that monk boat don't have. Like, opening ourselves to being vulnerable in front of people so that we are more connected and slowly find ourselves in this equation whereby there are other people and the equation changes when you're with different people and stuff. Like,
the world in your head is, you think it's like, our consciousness is so vast and everything, but then you realize, another person has that too. So what's special about me? Like, bro, the David Data, the superior man, lives as like a spontaneous sacrifice of sorts. So life is one ongoing mistake. And then layers of purpose, maybe just like mistakes. So you make a mistake, you must be able to admit it, first of all. Then after that, course correct. But then you course correct, oops, you're going to make another mistake. Oh well, life, such as life, you're not perfect. Make another mistake. Okay, then make another mistake, make another mistake. Then it may be just mistakes. You can call them like our monk mode. Sometimes for me in the past where I completely isolated myself, maybe that was not good, but it was
necessary.
It was
in
a
way
necessary outer layer of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Then I slowly like peel back the layers like an onion.
And there's no way to know, like, life. Some people will have less of the outer layers. Some people have more, but there's no way of knowing or like whatever. Sometimes it's just pure luck. Pure luck. Whatever that we've been through, we can always cope that, this is a necessary way, but life could just tell us with a worse set of cards, in a sense.
Sometimes you just get slapped and then you're like, okay, woke me up, thank you.
Yeah. But the first principle of how to look at this is have a positive attitude towards it. If not, that's the best way to, either you can say it's copium or what, but if you are not enjoying your time, then what are you doing anything for? So like, at least try to enjoy it. Even if you have a lot of things to work through, just enjoy the process.
know that there is a path forward, like keep that hope alive, and then like have that faith that like, I'm trying to be like my life trying to be a testimony that like I have gone through. There is a way out. There are steps you can take to escape from whatever hell hole of the past, like that the past may have been for you. And yeah, just being that beacon of love.
Okay, actually, I want to ask a few questions.
Okay.
Try to.
I think I've a bit long, but can
Yeah, a bit long. Okay, just now I thought about like partner.
Oh yeah. I didn't answer it yet, right?
It's okay. What are you? Can you give like 3 criteria?
3 criteria.
3 top of the list or whatever that comes out in your mind for a good partner.
I actually like, because obviously there is like, I mentioned already like what sort of person I want to be, like my mission basically. But I have thought about a few times actually. Like I did it once at the beginning. I was like, what sort of man do I want to be? What sort of partner do I want?
Yeah.
Or actually it's the other way around. What sort of partner do I want? Because it stems from desire first of all.
Yeah.
Then it's like work backwards from that. Like what sort of person do I need to be to deserve that, to be worthy of that mate? So I've done that a few times. I did more recently as a newer version of me. Better, maybe. It can be encapsulated by Belle from Beauty and the Beast. So
someone that accept you.
Funny but a pretty girl or something. Beauty. I mean, accept me. Yeah, there's the like looking at my ego as like my sense of self, like myself, different versions of me in my own like head. Like I thought myself as like the beast. Then like the thing about heroes, villains, Gaston, like they are very similar. Like, but then it's like what you choose to do about it. Then like inner beauty, outer beauty, physical versus internal.
Your dark side and whatever that you show.
So accept me for acceptance.
Acceptance
is that like you want acceptance from everyone. To feel like you belong here, that sort of thing. But then you also want to like stand out for people. You want to stand out from the world around you. So that you cannot do both at the same time. It's either you stand out or you conform. You have to decide like, am I more average, like an average person, like conform with the world around me? Like
okay, you're distracting yourself.
Yeah, that was a tangent.
Okay.
But that's it. Like
acceptance,
funny, pretty girl, humor.
Then personality that you like, basically.
I mean,
you have to like that personality, like humor, sensitive, all this, like whatever that. So criteria needs to be a good personality, accepts you and support your mission.
Okay. Because I look through like 𝐒𝐈𝐆𝐍's like 3 sort of frames. Then I like the ocean test I did. Like I based on my test results, so I got like my proclivities for the 5 sort of main traits. And then you don't want someone who's like all the way on the opposite spectrum. So if I'm like low neuroticism and I have a partner who's like super, super high neuroticism, like, or like openness to experience, so like adventurousness, everything, like if I'm like a low or high, so I want to go low, I want to go out. I don't want to go out. I want to stay at home, that sort of thing. High, I want to go out, like mingle with people, like nightlife, party, like loud. If we have like 2 conflicting lifestyles in that sense, like that would be very hard to live with. So you must know like your own proclivities. I learned my own like very specific things that like I'm maybe like a 3 or 2, like out of a scale of 100. And I was like, okay, so I want a partner, right? I don't want like 100 or something, right? Like close to that 100. So I have like an entire list of that. That's all. That's me, because I don't know, but like honesty, humor.
But how does the first thing you just thought about translate to reality?
Translate to reality. I mean, it's just a gauge. Because I've consciously, using my conscious mind, like put this down. Then like there's unconsciously like so gauging someone through connection. Then also just like, then if it escalates to the point where I'm already considering like, oh, do I want this person as a partner? Because it's like a third, like you need to, on a date, you need to care about your, like how you are as a person, like during a connection. Then it's also like you have to care about like, is this other person like right for me, that sort of thing. You need to gauge both at the same time. It's not just like, if you have self-worth, that's why. If you value yourself, then like you're not gonna find someone who has like no value for you or that sort of thing.
But do you think that could
Mutually serving through like
do you think
growth
that
and intimacy.
keeping that in mind will hinder the connection, the connecting part?
That's why I'm not even keeping any of these in mind, actually.
Oh, okay.
It's just like if you ask me, that's why I like trying to reduce it down. Yeah, a beauty but a funny girl. That's the Beauty and the Beast.
Okay. So it's still a lot by instinct and feeling in the moment.
I mean, yeah, beyond physical, which is physical attraction. But then there's the belief in the soulmate, souls.
Okay. One more question. Are you happy now?
Am I happy? Happy as an emotion or happy as like a state where I am content, sort of thing, and fulfilled? Happy.
Yeah, are you happy?
No, like you have to
No.
define the language. Emotion?
I think
Voice.
you can define happy yourself, because if I push fulfillment, whatever, it's very easy to go back into the textbook answer, or like if it's the emotion, then it's very easy to say, oh,
Fleeting. Oh.
yeah, there's ups and downs and stuff. We all know that. I guess most of us know that.
Mhm.
Some still learning. But in terms of just your well-being, are you happy in the most generic sense?
In the most generic sense, yes, I am.
Okay, that's good. Okay, to finish this off, I guess there are other questions that we can always a continuation of this episode.
Even if we have guests, like we will just have
Yeah.
like solo episodes in the end. Solo as in us, yes.
But definitely, I think that through this type of like setting, I learned a lot more about you, and because I just feel that even till now, if I were to be honest, it was quite hard to connect with you with a wall put in front, and the wall could be because of the trauma and stuff. You not being comfortable with it, with sharing it or whatever.
And it could be just me constantly changing because layers of purpose. When you constantly change, I know like it's hard to connect with someone who is like, like.
And when you are doing identity
Not
shift or whatever, you're trying to be somebody, the next level of you, and that process kind of put a wall around you. Like, I'm trying to do this. Whatever that I wouldn't dive into my past. I don't want to know more about your past if I'm still going through this. I realize that about myself as well. But I think there are use cases for everything. For monk mode, for identity shift, for trying to reach your goals or whatever. But I think these sort of things are very fulfilling. Like I enjoy this conversation a lot.
Same.
Yeah. I think we'll have another episode
I want to dive into
down
you.
the road. I mean, to me, but we have a continuation from here. Like I want to ask you more questions as well in the future.
Definitely. Sure. Definitely. That's why we want a platform to share our lessons that we've learned.
But this is a first of many, and we will have guests on soon. And yeah, this is the vision I had for the podcast, like having conversations that we both come out of it just better.
Yes.
And people that are watching, you get to hopefully learn something. Of course, like you can hear from a lot of our wordings. Like we have a lot of feedback recently as well about like how we speak, how we articulate ourselves, what kind of vibe we have. But like we are all just exploring. We're all learning.
All improving.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for discovering myself at the expense of everyone here. Oh no.
I mean,
it's a
at the end of the day, it will only get better. And if people follow us along the journey, we just hope that we can have a positive impact and can help you find out what you should do next. And if you disagree with anything, I think we are fine. Like,
I mean, a lot of this is, we cover a lot of subjective things. So it's like, if you disagree with us, then like, bye,
even
Felicia.
you hear from our wording sometimes when we want to give advice or when I ask you a question, you tend to say in you. Like when I ask like what do you need to do? What are you doing this for? Then you're like, then you start to go into, oh, you have to do this first, then do this. But we all always default back into like, we are still learning, like, I guess, or we use the word I guess a lot. We also talk about, we also use maybe, like I just, like, literally just this whole episode, I've just been telling you that I don't know. I don't know whether I'm proud or not.
I mean, it takes humility to acknowledge that you don't know. And a lot of people cannot even, they just double down on their mistake or their, it's admirable.
We have to ask questions. If not, no, if you don't ask ourselves all these questions, then it'll just be always the same thing happening over and over again. And unless your life now is all good, you should start asking questions. My life now is not always smooth sailing. That's why I'm asking all these questions.
It's
So,
always
like,
asked why. Why is the cause and effect question? Trying to find a cause.
yeah, I think this is a very long episode, but it's a good episode. And we'll see you in next week's episode.
See you.
Bye.